If you see me get smaller, I'm leaving.
Your songs are like your children. You send them out not knowing where they're going or what they're going to do, always. Sometimes they do really good things, and it makes it worth it being a songwriter. The single version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Glen's record, it was a significant record, and it was a different sounding thing. I would like to say that Glen Campbell was probably the first country crossover artist in a sort of general way. He was the great communicator of that kind of music. And it became a pop milieu. It's striking to hear By the Time I Get to Phoenix start out with me singing it and then suddenly transition to Glen Campbell, and you realize that there really is something special about the singing thing. It's not just there are singers, and they set themselves they set a very, very, very high mark for other singers. Billy's one of those, and Glen is one of those. But the fact that we're both singing together for the first time on any record makes it rather an emotional moment.
By the time I make Albuquerque, she'll be working. She'll probably stop at lunch and give me a call. But she'll just hear that phone keep on ringing.
I remember the phone rang one day, and it was Glen. "Hey, Jimmy Webb." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Can you write me another song like that By the Time I Get to Phoenix?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Who is this?" He said, "Well, this is Glen Campbell." I said, "Well, okay, yeah, hi, how you doing?" We'd never met. He said, "You think you could write me a song about a town?" He said, And I said, "Well, I don't know about that." I said, "But I could work on something for you." And I worked for 2 or 3 hours that afternoon, and I finally got to the place where I had most of it, and I had, "I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time, and the Wichita lineman is still on the line." Now here, I didn't have a verse. So I got to the end of the day and I thought, well, this isn't finished, but I'm going to send it over there because if they don't like it, I'm not going to work on it anymore. So a couple of weeks went by and I thought, well, okay, so they didn't like it, And one day the phone rang again and it was "Hi, Jimmy, this is Glen Campbell." He said, "You want to come down and hear Wichita Lineman?" Wichita Lineman? I said, "Wichita Lineman wasn't finished." And he said, "It is now." Wichita Lineman has always been one of Billy Joel's favorite songs for some reason. I tell you, it was hard for me to keep the tears back when I hear Billy come in on the second verse.
Is still on the line.
Galveston, oh Galveston.
What she brought to Galveston was really more than just another version of Galveston with Lucinda Williams on it. She brought the woman's part in. She brought another character into the piece. In my view, it was an anti-war song. My guy is just an ordinary guy from Galveston who misses home. The song was just recorded by this group called Four Troops. The guy who sings it said, everything that you describe in that song, he said, I went through in Iraq. He said, I cleaned my gun and watched the cannon flashing. And then when he said that, it got a hold of me. You know, there are times when you're writing things and you don't even know you're writing them. It's not all in your control. There are times when there are other things at work.
I bruise you, you bruise me.
This little song, All I Know, is one of Linda's favorite songs. She always wanted to do it. The track we had and the reading that we had on All I Know was so elegantly simple and fragile that we honestly thought we had to send it to Linda Ronstadt. She waded into it, and she just absolutely blew everybody's mind. I mean, it was clearly like going to be one of the best pieces of material on the album, and I don't think that it could be in any more appropriate position, because it really closes out the record by saying, I love you and that's all I know.
To help them grow, I love you, and it's all I know. I'll fly a starship across the universe divide.
This album is about loyalty, it's about remembrance, it's about love. You listen to the record, and then you'll know why we made it. You start remembering the songs that you really loved most and the singers that you really loved most. And you start realizing that there's a kind of a dry riverbed in your soul that if you just pour the water in, it'll know where to go. It'll steer itself. And in many ways, that's what Just Across the River represents. And suddenly to just give vent to those homebred passions, as it were, and to sing, you know, when we get out to the barn dance, we'll hear that rockabilly band singing about some hopeless romance, and we will know we're home again. Yes, we will know we're home again, friends, you know?
The ending always comes at last. Endings always come too fast. They come too fast, but they pass so slow. I love you, and that's all. It's all I know. It's all I know. It's all I know. I love you, and it's all